boys and girls, it's Miss Kim from Miss Kim's Children's Music. Today's vlog is going to be all about the cardiovascular system. I'm working out to keep my heart strong. Scully over there is trying to work out too. Scully, what are you trying to do? You can't work out without muscles, you crazy skeleton. Well, anyway, stick around. We're going to have fun and learn about the heart and the cardiovascular system. Hi, boys and girls. Scully and I were trying to work out. But hey, Scully, you can't work out without muscles. So we're talking about the cardiovascular system, which is a fascinating system of our body. But let's first introduce Scully's friend. Scully, who's this friend?
Oh, Miss Kim, this is my friend Bones.
Well, very nice to meet you, Bones. It's like you guys are twins. Mini Scully. Cool. Well, he's sticking around to help us out. Today we're going to learn about the cardiovascular system. There are 3 parts to the cardiovascular system: the heart, the lungs, the arteries, veins, coronary and portal vessels. So let's start with the heart. The heart is a muscle, and its job is to pump blood through the arteries and veins. Blood through the arteries and veins. That's insane! That's part 1. Part 2, the lungs. The lungs refreshes the blood with a new supply of oxygen, which comes from the air that we breathe in. Then we have this highway system of arteries, veins, coronary and portal vessels. It's like a highway system that carries this oxygen-rich blood. Well, the arteries carry blood away from the heart, and the veins carry blood back to the heart. The arteries carry blood away from the heart, but the veins carry blood back to the heart. This circulatory system carries oxygen, nutrients, and hormones to the cells. And then, much like our digestive system, it then relieves and gets rid of the waste products, like carbon dioxide that we talked about earlier. Don't you remember that we talked about how the lungs in our respiratory system gets rid of carbon dioxide? Well, so does our cardiovascular system. Since we need oxygen in our blood, in our muscles, in our lungs, we need oxygen everywhere. So we learned about the 3 parts. We learned about the heart, the lungs, and the highway system of the arteries and veins. These blood vessels that we have throughout our whole body, they allow blood to flow throughout our body. These arteries transport blood away from the heart, as I was telling you, while the veins like to return it to the heart. That's the job of this highway system that we have in our body, in our circulatory system. Now, these really small little capillaries are the smallest and the most numerous of the blood vessels. They surround the body cells and tissues to deliver and absorb that oxygen, nutrients, and other substances. There's so much going on in our body. It's unbelievable. So some really cool things about our heart: it is the size of a fist. And it's a little off to the left, like we discussed a couple times in the earlier vlogs on the human body. How many times does a heart beat per day? 115,000 times a day. And if you remember that we said our body is voluntary or involuntary, you remember? This is voluntary. We can move our muscles. Well, our cardiovascular system is involuntary. It is working on its own without us even knowing it. Sometimes we make our heart work more when we're working out or going for a walk. Sometimes we let it rest when we're sleeping. Pretty cool stuff. Now, the heart is in charge of expelling the blood, and it expels or releases, squeezes out 2 ounces of blood per beat. Unbelievable.
Fun fact!
Did you know the length of our arteries and veins, if we measured it all out in one line, would lap around the earth 2.5 times? That's a lot of miles that we have of our arteries and veins in our body. Let's talk about the journey of blood. Blood, that liquid that's flowing throughout our body to help us survive this wonderful life we've been given, which contains oxygen and nutrients. So it's kind of like a system that delivers it to all these organs. Unbelievable, right? So let's talk about this journey. It starts in the heart, then it travels into the aorta. The aorta is a valve in our heart. And then it goes into the arteries. Then it goes into the capillaries, and then it delivers it out to the rest of our body through our cells, which are really small, so microscopic that they're so small it's almost too hard to believe. We'll talk about cells in another vlog, though. Now, blood flows in a circular motion. What do I mean by that? Well, the direction blood goes is first up to the head, gets to the brain, then to the arms, then to the legs. Now it's going to come back to the heart through the veins, if you remember. From the legs, the blood flows up, back from the inferior vena cava, which I'll show you a picture of, into the arms, back from the superior vena cava, and then it returns back to the heart. It's one big circular motion. It's quite a fascinating journey our blood takes. All this blood returns to the lungs eventually in its journey, and then the lungs get its oxygen, which it needs, and returns it back to the heart again, over and over again, automatically. There are two really cool big veins I want to talk about. The superior vena cava. Sounds like a cup of coffee, doesn't it? Well, it's not. It's a vein that we need. The superior vena cava is a large vein that returns blood from the head and arms to the heart. Then there's the inferior vena cava. Of course, we have to have an inferior cup of coffee. I mean vein. I'm just kidding. The inferior vena cava is a large vein that returns blood from the legs and the abdomen back to the heart. All these are very important. Could you imagine if you had to name all of the blood vessels and veins in our whole body? Doctors are amazing for knowing all this knowledge, don't you think? So, I ask you all, how many blood types are there? So when we go to the doctor and we get our blood drawn, they have to find out what blood type we are. There are 4 main ones. There's A blood type, B blood type, AB blood type, and O blood type. But there's an RH factor, which is a protein. It could either be positive or negative. So let's say you attach that to type A blood. It could be type A positive or A negative with the RH factor, depending upon what RH factor you have. So instead of 4 blood types, now we have 8 blood types. It's pretty complex. That leads me to a really funny thing. Hey, Scully and Bones, what did one blood cell say to another blood cell that was having a bad day?
I don't know, Miss Kim.
Be positive. Get it? Because the blood types could be positive or negative. Be positive. You better be laughing over there on the other side. Did you ever get brain freeze from ice cream or a popsicle? Well, you can blame that brain freeze on blood vessels. It's the blood vessels. When the cold touches something warm on the roof of our mouth, the local blood vessels minimize the heat loss and then relax to restore the blood flow. And the response is, for a little bit, you get this change in temperature that gives you that brain freeze. I never knew that. Blood vessels are pretty cool. Fun fact, chocolate is good for your heart and your circulatory system. But it's got to be the dark chocolate. Dark chocolate has flavonoids in it, which are like a nutrient that could offer some benefits. Scully, I have a joke for you. I love to include Bones. I love to include Scully in jokes, but get that chocolate out of your mouth, silly. Well, Scully, I didn't study for my blood test, and I still got an A. Get it? Remember we talked about that earlier? A positive blood. I got another joke for Scully because Scully likes it. Hey, Scully, why didn't the skeleton play football?
I don't know, Miss Kim.
His heart wasn't in it. What do you do to save a lamb that's having a heart attack? You do CPR. One, two, three. Fun fact, laughing is good for your heart.
Miss Kim's gone mad.
What color is blood? I'll give you a hint. It's somewhere in the rainbow here. Blood is always red, though sometimes when we look at our veins, it looks blue. It's just the way it reflects light off of our skin. That's all. That's all that is. What is blood? Blood is like a liquid tissue, which is really fascinating. It's fluid, and it's made up of more than half plasma, and then the rest is white and red blood cells. So as we talked about before, red blood cells have an important job. They have a special protein inside the blood called hemoglobin. Funny word, right? It helps carry that oxygen from the lungs to the rest of the body. Then it returns carbon dioxide from the body to the lungs so it can be exhaled. You must think of your white blood cells as the warrior cells. They're always doing battle. They're fighting diseases. They're fighting bacteria all the time. They're fascinating. We love our white blood cells. Everybody give a round of applause to white blood cells. Thank you for keeping me alive and safe and well.
It's quiz time with Miss Kim. Are you ready? What are the 3 parts of the cardiovascular system? That's right, the heart, the lungs, and the arteries and veins. How many times does your heart beat per day? 115,000 times. Fantastic. And last but not least, when eating ice cream, what part of our cardiovascular system causes brain freeze? Our blood vessels.
Well, that went by fast, didn't it? Scully and Bones? I want to thank Scully and Bones for hanging out with me. And Scully's always a good sport and allows me to joke around. He's heartless. No, just kidding. You know I'm kidding. Remember, laughter is good for your cardiovascular system and your immune system as well. So make sure you laugh a lot. But thank you for learning all about the cardiovascular system, our 5th vlog on the human body. I'm so excited for the next. We're all learning so much together. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Love you.